Exactly which part of the racket should I be hitting the ball on? That's the question a lot of people are asking, and today I'm going to answer it in three parts. With a general answer, a specific answer, and then using this special racket, I'm going to show you at the end one little trick that you've never heard before. So the general answer is you need to hit the ball in the center of the racket. That's where the sweet spot is, so you have the most efficiency. You're going to have the most speed, most efficiency coming off of your swing if you hit in the center. The edges of the racket aren't going to give you the same ball quality as the center. That's the general answer. The specific answer is there are some times that you want to impart more spin on the ball, and maybe you're going to use a little bit more wrist action. So instead of hitting straight through the core, you're using more of the top sheet or the sponge. So if you want to generate more spin, especially with the backhand loop, you're going to need to hit a little bit closer to the tip of the racket as opposed to the core. See, the sweet spot only applies if you're hitting deep into the wood. If you're just using the top sheet and brushing the ball, then the contact point doesn't matter as much as the sweet spot, but the tip of the racket does give you a little bit more leverage. Same principle applies to serve. If you're going to use a lot of wrist action, the racket is going to be traveling a further distance here, so it's going to be more efficient than if you were to hit it here. Going back to 6th grade math class, Billy drives his bike 12 miles in an hour. Frankie drives his bike 10 miles in an hour. Who went faster? Well, the guy that traveled the further distance in the same amount of time. So the tip of the racket is going to be, like on your serves, is going to be traveling a further distance. Also, I'm not exactly sure on the physics of this, but the leading edge tends to give you a little bit more spin as well. So on pendulum serve, it's going to be a little bit more here. On hook serve, because it's going here, it's going to be here. On reverse pendulum, it's going to be in here. So the leading edge does give you a little bit more spin. And then there's other times, whether it be the table's in the way or the position of the ball, you may not have a choice to hit in the middle. For example, on a short serve to your forehand that's very, very short and low, when you go for forehand flip, you may not have the luxury of hitting here because the ball is so low. So your contact point may be down here because of the low bounce. So the general rule is center of the racket, especially for the power shots where you're hitting deep into the ball. On the spin shots or the shots that you're using more wrist, closer out to the tip. And then on some specific shots, especially like serve, you want to be able to hit the leading edge. This gives you the most spin possible. So I told you there was three things. The first is general principle, second is specific principles, and then the third is that weird trick. So a lot of people know that they should hit in the center of the racket, but a lot of people aren't able to track to see if they do it. So what I've done in the past is I've taken an old racket, because you may not want to put tape on your new racket, and put tape on the outside. So guess what? I'm practicing my forehand loop with this racket. If I hit here, the ball goes on. If I hit here, the ball goes on. If I hit the tape, the ball just drops off. So what does that do? That gives you instant feedback to see, am I actually hitting the center of the racket? So why are we doing this video? Because Power Pong robot training is the ideal time to practice this particular skill. Imagine if you went to the club with tape on your racket and you said, I'm going to play some people like that. Well, maybe, but you'll probably play 500 points lower because you're using literally a mini paddle. With the robot doesn't care. It's always eager to train. It's always available. This is the ideal time to take some tape, put it on an old racket, a backup racket, and just leave a small square in the middle, maybe 2.5 by 2.5 or 3 inches by 3 inches, and just practice that repetition. It's very reasonable if you've done it with the robot to be able to also do this skill with a person. And if you do this skill in training, it's only a matter of time until you start implementing this in tournament play as well. This is just one of the many things with Power Pong robot training that you can do. Isolate specific skills that you want to work on and get those better and better and better, and then be able to transfer it to playing with people, and then being able to transfer it to match play. A lot of people say, well, I learned things on videos, but I can't use it in matches. Well, because you don't have a stepping stone. And Power Pong robots are really that stepping stone that you need to take your game to the next level. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Hope to see you soon.